You can actually see my face. Hi. Welcome, ladies, to month 10 of our 12-month series, Creating Your Badass Red Dress Life. Today, you will take your radiant being and develop the pathways to connect with the person or people you most desire to have in your life so that you can co-create with others in a way which exponentially expands yourself, your life, and the lives of others around you to new heights which you could not reach on your own. While today's discussion will focus mainly on emotional and sexual partners, the ideas and processes we talk about can be applied to any relationship. So I will share with you the 3 keys to creating happy, healthy, and harmonious relationships without effort, stress, or frustration. Hi, I'm Kat Lindquist, or Badass Kat, with Badass Red Dress Society, and today you are continuing your journey outside yourself by learning the 3 keys to creating happy, healthy, and harmonious relationships without effort, stress, or frustration. So before I begin, I'd like to always set the stage with appreciation for the abundance in my life by giving thanks and acknowledgement to the people who help make BARDS and my life the amazing journey that they are. So first, I always like to thank Mark Clayton, who is my partner in life and my partner in business. Mark is instrumental in how I create Badass Red Dress Society, the workshops that I provide, and all the wonderful things that I continue to work on to bring to you and to the world through my gifts. So thank you, Mark, and I love you. And as next, I'd like to thank our absolutely fabulous member who provides our facility and our snacks for our meeting today, our live meeting today. And to the ladies who have joined us in person, and also to you who have joined us virtually. Thank you so much for being here. And you have been on an amazing journey this past year. So I began teaching this series in April of 2018 with the topic of awareness. And each month we have built upon your growth to first turn deeply inward and connect with the very depths of your authentic self. And then we have worked to bring that outward into where we are today in the co-creating section of our 12-month series. So let's dive right into our 3 keys to creating happy, healthy, and harmonious relationships without effort, stress, or frustration. And those 3 keys are radiance, receive, and reflect. Radiance, receive, and reflect. So I'm part of several online polyamorous relationship groups as well as in-person non-monogamous groups. And I also have many friends and acquaintances who are both non-monogamous and monogamous. When it comes to romantic type relationships, so many people ask me, how do I find the one? The one. And even non-monogamous people are searching for a deeply connected, grounded, and matched partner or partners that they desire to share their life with. So to begin our discussion, I want to ask a few questions. So my first question is, how did you meet your current or a past partner whom you consider or considered at the time to be the one? So if anyone wants to share.
Yeah, I can talk about that.
Okay.
And so I used to be married, and we met about 25 years ago, and we were both scientists, and so we just sort of had something in common, and started going out, and it was like the match made in heaven, it felt like.
Nice.
You know? And we were happy together for a very long time and are still friends.
Oh, very nice. Excellent.
I'll answer that.
Okay.
I just remember.
I know, that's okay. It's the wonderful thing about being live, right? We get to be our imperfect selves.
I should have talked longer.
No, it's all right.
Tell a joke. I'm almost done. Tell a joke.
no crude jokes.
Well, I liked your last one. So we'll say this on camera. So why do women have trouble with distance? Right? That's the okay. So because we've always been told this is 12 inches.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So our next member is ready who would like to answer. How did you meet your current or past partner whom you considered to be the one?
So my past partner was my husband, and I was raised Catholic, and really, in growing up, really wanted to be the best at everything that I did. So if you're going to be Catholic and you're a woman, you can't be a priest, so I was going to be a nun. I figured that out at a very early age. So by 8th grade, that was it. That was my goal in life. And then I met kind of a mentor kind of person when I was in my early 20s, and she said, she had me watch the movie The Thornbirds, and she said, it's okay, God will still love you if you get married and have a family, because I was majoring in child development.
Okay.
So I decided, okay, that's it then. I just have to get married because all I want to be was a mom.
Mm-hmm.
So I met him at church, and we went, out to lunch like every Sunday for, gosh, we sat by each other for like 6 months or a year before I ever even thought that he was an option. And I realize now it really wasn't the best choice for me because it wasn't who I am. But I didn't know that. But that wedding day, it was a 3-hour wedding. We gave the flowers to the Virgin Mary. It was like the Sound of Music wedding. It was beautiful. Oh my gosh, it was like a dream. And I cried like the whole time, just tears going down my cheeks. I was smiling so big. It was like the happiest day of my life, and it still is. And I loved getting dressed, having other people dress me, and it was just beautiful.
Nice.
So does that
Very
answer your
nice.
question?
Yes. So then the next question is, what about that person made you feel that you were the one? That they were the one. So what did they give to you that said to you, this is the one that I need to marry? Whether it was, love or attention or, kind of how did you kind of decide that, yeah, this is the person I'm going to choose and I'm going to make this commitment?
I think for me it was that we had so many things in common, this connection. And then the love developed after that.
Okay.
But it was like we had so much in common that we were like one in already.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right.
So for me, it was that we were friends and then started dating, and then I got sick. So I got this bladder condition that's really painful. And I was doing a support group at the time where I had met him, and so I was giving a talk. So I was signed up to be the speaker that night. And I texted him beforehand because he was working, and I said, can I just come? And I was already like spending the night with him. Like this was already kind of getting serious, so we were spending like weekends together.
Mm-hmm.
But that had just started. And I said, something in my gut's telling me not to go home tonight. Can I come stay with you? So I went and stayed with him, and then I ended up in the emergency room that night, diagnosed with this bladder condition, and then pretty much moved in. And my mom was like, even though I was raised Catholic, she's like, I know the Catholic and Italian. She's like, I know the Catholic Church says that you're not supposed to live with anyone before you get married, but this is a good man. He owns a condo. He's got a good job. He's taking good care of you. So like, don't let this one go. So then it took me a while, but I let go of my own apartment and
Okay.
eventually just went with it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then the next piece of this is, if you are no longer with that person, what happened to create that change that you're no longer with that person?
Well, we got together because we were so much alike. But over so many years, we were becoming less and less alike. Excuse me, because people change over time.
Right.
And so it was not like we didn't like each other anymore, but we weren't that kind of closeness that we used to be.
Okay. So kind of grew apart. Each of you were growing as individuals, and that took you away from growing together as a couple.
Yes.
Okay.
So for me, it's kind of twofold. The bladder condition Wait. Can you read the question
Yeah.
again?
So if you're no longer with that person, what happened to create that change?
Okay.
So after you got together, you got married,
Right.
you've been together, but now you're
Okay.
no longer with him. So what
Right.
caused you
Okay.
to no longer be with him?
So one of the things is that when I met him, where I was in the bladder condition, my sex drive was really high, and that's what it does, is it'll increase your sex drive, and then you'll go into pain, and it goes back and forth.
Okay.
But he was so impressed with how skillful he was with me,
Okay.
and what I could do
Mm-hmm.
and around that. And so that was the thing that really brought us together. So the bladder condition was part of the
connection.
The sex was really our connection, and then when the bladder condition happened, that stopped.
Mm-hmm.
But really, what it comes down to is that I wanted to be a mom because I really believed that being a mom was the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I wanted to be a mom, period. But I
Right.
didn't believe, I wasn't taught that it was okay to be a mom without having a man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't about to go against what my family or what I thought
Right. What
everyone around me thought was the right thing to do.
Right.
So really, that's what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm. So in that, so you wanted to be a mom, but you really didn't want to be married.
Right. And so what happened is that when my son was finally born, and I was finally a mom, all my focus went on my child.
Okay.
Like total,
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
know what you call that. And there was nothing left for him. It was
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
And that was just the beginning. So
Okay.
it took me years to finally leave, and it continued to get worse and worse. But
Okay.
I'm seeing now how much of it was me.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing so candidly with all of that. So we're going to move into our first key. So throughout your life, you have been putting things into time categories of past, present, and future. Now, the past is just that. It's the past. What happened 5 minutes ago is gone. What happened 5 years ago is done. It is not now. Yet, how many times do we recount the past, just like we did? We go back and we think about the past and we look at the past and we bring up all those thoughts and all those feelings and those words around things that happened in our past that maybe weren't what we wanted.
Mhm.
And we start to focus more on the past than we do on where we are right now and where we really want to go in the future. So we kind of get in this place where we tend to be looking back rather than looking forward.
Mhm.
And in month 5, we discussed our internal GPS system. So those are our thoughts, our feelings, and our words. And this is your guidance system, which helps you to determine where you're going and what you're radiating out into the universe. So just like the GPS in your car, there's a triangulation of 3 different points. There's where you are, there's the satellite, which is doing all the calculation, and then there's your point of destination of where you want to go. So just like that in your car or your phone, we have an internal GPS system of where we are, the universe, which is our calculating how are we going to get there, and then our destination. And if we put our destination out into the universe, then what's going to happen?
Should get there.
Then you'll get there.
Then we'll get
If
there.
you put it in your GPS, then
Then we're going to get there. But if we keep going back and we start along the journey and we say, oh, but wait, I need to go back to where I was. I'm going to look back at where I was, and I change that destination back to some place where I used to be. Am I ever going to reach my destination?
No, you can't
No.
get there.
You can't get there
From looking back.
from looking back. And that's what people do. They get in this cycle where they're wanting a destination that's different, but they're not putting that destination into their GPS system because they keep looping back to where they've been.
Mhm.
And as people will say, different faces, different places, same bullshit.
Mhm.
You know, it's the same stuff that keeps coming up, the same partner that keeps coming back, or the same employee issue that keeps coming back, or the same friend. You have friends that cycle like this too. And I can look back, and especially at my friendships, I can look back and go, oh my gosh, I have had this type of friend for 30 years. Because
Not
I
the
kept
same
coming
person,
back, not
but
the
the
same person, but the
but the
same
same type.
type of
Yeah.
person, the same experiences. And now I'm creating something different with the friendships, the loves, the relationships that I'm creating, because I'm not looping back anymore. I'm not looking
Right.
at the past. I'm not talking about the past in the same way that I did it before. So many people want to go back to the past and they want to experience that pain that, we were talking a little bit earlier before our discussion here about how people kind of go into misery and how they they kind of get into this loop of, all these bad things that happen in their lives. Well, they keep talking about it. They keep bringing up all those feelings, and then they keep getting the same thing.
It seems like that if there is a way to use the past too, because if we don't look back and look at all the problems, but we look at what lesson we learned and bring the lesson forward,
Yes.
then we're not bringing all the trash and garbage,
Right.
but we're bringing the kernel of goodness that came out
That's
of
right.
that.
That's right. It's all how you look at it. So it's those thoughts, those feelings, and those words that need to be in harmonic balance together. So even if we do look back at the past, are we going back and we're digging up all those old hurt feelings? Or are we looking back and saying, this was an experience I had, and what I learned from this was or is, and now I'm applying that to the destination I want to go to, because I've grown from that. I've learned from that, and now I'm at a different place than I was there.
Even though it was horrible,
Even though
it
it
still
was-
gave you a small tool
It
to take
did.
with you.
It did. And in fact, that's something that that I learned in my relationship with my ex-husband. For the first several years out of my divorce, I looked back and I was angry. I was angry and hurt and raged and wanted revenge and all these really deep, dark, negative feelings. But even going through that, I was able to work through those feelings and move into the next piece where I could go into forgiveness. Not only forgiving him, but also forgiving myself. And so taking that responsibility that, whatever he did was on him, but I have to take responsibility that I allowed it.
Yeah, you
And
let
I
yourself
stayed
stay
and
in
I let myself stay and I accepted the treatment that he gave to me.
Right.
That's on me. And when I took that responsibility, that was the biggest shift. Was I stopped cycling. I stopped going back into the past, and I could now actually move forward.
That's probably the biggest mistake that most people make is they won't take responsibility for those things.
Right. They want to play the victim role. They want to blame the other person. He's abusive. He's a narcissist. He's this, and I've said all that.
Yeah.
And it's true. And it's okay that it's true. He was who he was. Now I can say, I've grown from that.
Yeah.
I've learned from that. And I accept that he was who he was. And I accepted that into my life.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit about that because we'll get to there. But when our thoughts, our feelings, and our words are not in harmonic balance, then we end up on this roller coaster because we're not having a smooth trajectory with everything being aligned. When we're out of balance, it's like a washing machine that's out of balance. It clunks and it's not smooth. So when we think about that, if we recount, so we talked about that. Let's see, where are we now? So when you become highly aware and intentional about your thoughts, your feelings, and how you choose to say your words, all your actions and everything falls into line. So the next question I have is, do you know what you deeply desire when it comes to a partner or partners that you want to share your life with? Or do you even want to share your life that way with someone?
I can answer that because I've given it so much thought lately. And now that I'm feel like I'm more like myself just in the last week. And I know that because I'm a mom and my son's 11, and I live with my dad who's in his late 70s, and I really love that they're my priority right now.
Okay.
And so, like yesterday, I spent the whole day with my son, and we went for a walk, and then went to dinner, and we went for a walk and got breakfast, and then went home, and then went to dinner and a movie, and I know that because of my training and background with child development, that children need more as a teenager than any other time. And so, but they have to come to you. You can't just put it on them. So anyway, so I know that that's my priority, is to do that. So what I tell people is that I'm solo poly, which means that my job, because that's what supports me and my family, and my son and my dad come first. And so then when I date, it's always secondary. So it's like, does that make sense? And then but I would like something like primary, but I don't even want a primary partner. What I want is, because I've got more than one person I'm dating now, and I get something different from each one. So what I really want is the whole poly household community or apartment complex. I want to have them all in one space. I want to go home and be able to be like, hi, and just give someone a kiss on the cheek and get a hug, and maybe eat dinner together, and then we take turns. You can take the kids, and it's not even about sex. It's just about this community living, because the woman who wrote Mind Over Medicine and just being raised Italian, when I was reading that and so terribly sick before I had left my husband, and that was another reason I left, and that's a whole story for another day. But she said that there was this village, this Italian village, and they were working in coal mines, and this Italian village is the only that they lived the longest of anyone else in the community. And so the key factor was that, and they were working in the coal mines and smoking and drinking wine and eating pasta. And they lived longer than any other culture that was around them. And they said that the reason they lived the longest was because of community. And so, so that's what I want to create, that community. And I saw The Star Is Born last night, and Lady Gaga's Italian, and it was so much like my family. And it just reminded me how much that's so important. And so that's what I want. Doesn't mean I'm sleeping with everybody. It's just that we're all in this together.
Cool. Nice.
I think for me, I've been very fortunate. I've had 3 very close relationships, but I've spent most of my adult life married, and I think that I just want to have very close friends and people I can trust and do things with, but not get into a situation where I would be tied to someone directly.
Excellent. So have you written any of this down? Have you kind of designed your life on paper?
Actually, I have, because we did that one time.
We did, yes.
As one of the BARDS projects.
That's right.
Where we built a poster of what we want.
That's right, yeah. That was our vision board.
It's in my bedroom.
Yeah, I did the vision board, but I haven't written it out.
Yeah.
But now I have this, because I've talked about it. So if it's on Facebook, I'm going to have it.
That's right.
So I can always go back to it. And then I'm doing another video thing about, so it's like, but I have done a lot. Actually, I've written down a lot, really. I have.
Exactly. And so it's the invitation that when you make a video or you write things down, or you have something that's very intentional about your life and what is it that you desire, and be able to express that in a way that is very clear and concise and intentional. So then we take that and we focus on that and we radiate that out into the universe. Yes.
Can I just say that just asking that question and having me answer it made it more clear for me. And so I get that, and I realize that's why the 12-step support groups are so popular, is because it's all about telling your own story.
It is.
And then when you tell it, then you can own it, You
Yes.
can be okay with it, and then you can go on and really do what you dream of doing and not feel whatever the shame or whatever around it.
Exactly. Right. It truly is about owning that story and being able to express it in a way that is clear. And the more that we do it, the more times we tell that story, the more times we share it out into the world, we share it with our friends, our colleagues, our family, our friends, whoever else, we continue to refine it. So the first time we tell it, we might kind of give a general piece of it. And then as we continue to tell that story, we find in our own experience, oh, now I'm putting more detail to it.
Mhm.
Now I'm saying, you know, instead of just saying I want the poly family or the poly community, what I really want is I want that feeling and those connections of people where I can come home and have the dinner, and then I can have this, and it gets more detailed every time you do it.
Yeah.
And one of my business mentors that I'm looking to work with this next year, one of the things she said in an interview I listened to recently is clarity comes through action. And it really made a lot of sense to me because so many times we think things up here and we think we have it clear. But when we start to do it or we start to talk about it, the more times that we do and talk, it gets refined. And there's more pieces that get added to it. And more clarity comes, well, no, what I really mean is, it's, you know, I thought it was this, but now, no, it's kind of changed a little bit because really what I want is this. And then the next time, you know, I'm going to narrow that down even a little more. What I really want is this. So the more we get out, the more we talk, the more we share, then, and sometimes even the more we write. If it's not even necessarily sharing with someone else, but the more you write it, you're going to get more clarity out of that as well.
That's why texting is so good, because for me, that's my journaling, is just texting people
Nice.
that I look up, that have done it before, that are kind of ahead of me on the trail.
Yeah.
Not that they're better, they're just ahead
Right,
of
they're
me.
just ahead.
But to just be like, hey, just read this.
Yeah,
Then I know someone's hearing it, I don't feel so alone in it.
that's a great idea.
Well, one thing about the vision board.
Mhm.
Okay, so when I built mine, I put a picture of a beautiful olive-skinned lady to be a sex partner.
Nice.
Within a month, I
Uh-huh.
had that.
Yes. Isn't
Just
that
from building
amazing?
that vision board. Within a month, I had
Yes.
it had been 4 years
Yeah.
for me, and all of a sudden,
Uh-huh.
a month later,
Yeah. Because you made it concrete.
Mhm.
You put it out to the universe. You said, and you looked at that poster probably every day,
I did.
right?
Mhm.
And even though you weren't consciously thinking, I want that woman,
no, I
But
wasn't.
you
I
saw
just looked
it,
at the poster
and that
said, these
feeling,
are things I want,
yeah.
you know.
and you would say, you know, here's my vision board, here's the things I want. I'm looking at it, these are the things I want. And the universe lines everything up,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't take long, does it?
No,
It doesn't take long.
no, it really doesn't.
So key number one is to get clear on what you desire,
Mhm.
who you are authentically, and to allow that radiance to shine out into the universe.
Mhm.
So that's key number one. So in listening to your stories, I'm taken back to my own story, as I shared earlier, about when I met my late ex-husband.
Mhm.
And the underlying energy that I had in my life at that point in time was that I was deeply unworthy, unloved, and undesired. But yet I was someone that would put it out on the surface that everything was good.
Mm.
So if you looked at my life, if you looked at me, I had the happy smile on my face. You know, I was, you know, a little Miss-Go-Lucky, you know, happy-go-lucky. But underneath it all, I felt like shit.
Yeah.
And I truly felt like I didn't deserve to have a good life. I felt very unworthy, unlovable. I truly did not have any sort of self-esteem or self-worth.
Wow.
And that energy is what radiated from me into the universe.
Mhm.
Because the universe doesn't hear our words. They don't hear the physical words that we say. It hears the energy
Mhm.
and what's going on inside of where we're putting our attention.
And if you project that,
And
that's
if-
what you're going to get.
That's what I'm going to get. So the universe matched me because of the law of attraction, which we talked about in month 3. The law of attraction has to match you with where you are.
Mhm.
And so I was matched with someone that reinforced all those thoughts and feelings that I was having inside, even though I may not have been fully aware of it, but that's how I felt. So that's what goes out into the universe, and that is what is reflected back and I received.
Can I just ask a question? So that goes back to that saying, what you resist persists.
Yes.
So I never understood it, and now it makes a lot more sense when you put it that way.
Yeah. And that is actually, kind of a little side note here is when I see all the things out there in the universe right now of resist, resist president, resist war, resist cancer, resist all this stuff. What we're doing is we are actually making all of that bigger because we're giving it attention.
Oh my gosh, that's all making sense. Okay.
So when we turn inward and we focus here and the things that we can control here, those things will actually start to dissipate and go away. But the more we give attention, the more bumper stickers you put on your car, the more Facebook posts you make about, whatever it is that you're resisting, that you're against, the universe doesn't hear no. It only hears your focus and intention.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So no, I don't need to be talking.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's like that whole thing about don't enter into like a controversial discussion.
Yeah.
Because when you do, and that comes from that whole 12-step focus of that they don't enter controversy. That's one of their traditions.
Yeah.
So it makes sense because what you enter and what you put your energy into, you don't want to feed into it and make it grow.
Yeah.
And it could be the other person getting upset or the argument or whatever.
Right. But you're engaging
but
with
if you
that
don't
energy.
engage and you just don't react, then the power goes away.
Yes.
And it just reminds me, because I was messaging my sister back this morning and I didn't send it yet because I was like, I want someone else to look at this. And it does. It feeds it instead of, and so I haven't sent it. So now I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now most people would say, but Kat, you didn't ask the universe for an abusive husband, did you? Who would ask for such hurtful, negative experiences? But yet, as I've learned, because of the laws of the universe and how the laws of the universe work, just like the law of gravity doesn't care if you're fat or thin or short or tall, it exerts the same energetic force upon each of us. However, due to our own unique attributes, we experience the pull of gravity differently. So when we weigh more, when we have more body mass, the exertion and the force of gravity feels heavier. That's what makes us heavy. Gravity isn't exerting more force on one person than another. It's exerting the same amount of force, but we experience it differently because of who we are. And it's the same with the law of attraction. So what we put out, the energy, the law of attraction impacts everybody exactly the same. It doesn't discern whether you're a good person or a bad person or a monogamous person or a non-monogamous person or however you define yourself. It doesn't care, it doesn't matter. It exerts the same force upon all of us. And what the law of attraction says is that which you give attention to, you get back. It is that mirror that you radiate out into, and it reflects it right back to you.
So how does that relate to your ex-husband? I mean,
Because my energy was that I was unloved, I was undeserving, I was undesirable, and I attracted a partner who reinforced all of that for me.
Okay. Thank you. That makes sense.
So the way he treated me was exactly the way that I felt. It was a reflection of what was going on in here, and it was just coming back to me in a physical form. So when we hear about these tragedies and we hear about these things that are happening, even collectively, we hear about, earthquakes and, devastation and famine and, all these negative things that are happening in the world, there is a collective energy in areas that say out to the universe, this is what we feel.
Mm-hmm.
This is some experience that we're having. And the universe reflects something back to them which matches.
Mm-hmm.
It could be who's elected to president. It could be, a war. It could be anything. But anything that we give attention to then starts to grow. Mm-hmm. So I receive, so receive is what I got.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I wasn't aware of it, I wasn't intentional about it,
Mm-hmm.
but that's what I got.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, we were talking about this subject earlier today, and ever since I was little, I always felt like that I was going to be doing something important in life, and that lots of people would know who I was. So I had to maintain the right kind of reputation. I had to do things right. I had to follow that trail in a way, but it gave me self-confidence,
Right.
and I knew who I was, and I knew where I was going, and it's been good
Yeah,
because of it.
absolutely.
And I don't know how that came about, what caused it. My brother and sister didn't get this, but
Right.
somehow I did.
But somehow you
It's
did.
like a gift.
You're right. And so throughout your life and your experience, what you continued to put out to the universe, you got back to you. So if I can give just a brief example, you were sharing how you were traveling, and there were things that were happening around the world in the areas that you had been in that you left, and a week later something blew up. Something really big and negative happened, but it didn't happen when you were there.
Right.
So it didn't impact your experience because of your energy.
Mm-hmm.
But the energy was building around it with other people.
Mm-hmm.
But because you were so strong in your energy, the universe could not allow that incident or that situation to impact you. So once you left, then it opened up that channel because there was no longer this positive piece holding it back.
Wow. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I've come to learn that I create my own reality. I create my life. And it is completely up to me, the energy that I put out, the words, the thoughts, the feelings that I have when those are in harmonic balance, and that's what I put out to the universe, that's what is reflected back to me, and that's what I receive. And so as I've been growing on my BARDS journey, I have seen lots of shifts in my life. And of course, this started even before BARDS became a part of my life, just because this was my life journey. And so
it's actually because you got that positive, and
Yeah.
you started becoming so positive
that
you were
BARDS,
able to
that,
make
that I
BARDS
was able
happen.
to make this happen. And
Mhm.
BARDS came to me. BARDS was an inspiration that came to me because of the shifts that I had been making in
And
my
in
life.
your previous life, you would have never come up
Oh,
with this.
absolutely not. No, absolutely not.
Mhm.
So
Makes sense.
key number 2 is you receive what you put out.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to put out what you desire, not what you currently have.
Mm-hmm.
So if where you are is not where you want to be, you want to put out what it is you want. And if you are where you want to be, then you continue to put out what you want and what you want next. And then the universe will continue to bring that to you. And remember, sometimes sometimes it is that exact match. Like you said, there was this beautiful olive-skinned woman that you were desiring, and she showed up. Sometimes it is a literal match. Other times it's an energetic match.
Mm-hmm.
So it may be something that you're putting out, and it might be a thought or idea of something that's unrelated,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a positive energy that comes back to you in some other form.
would this be an example? So I was with a friend the other night, and we were driving one night, and I was driving, and he said, "Oh, you got to slow down on this road." And I told him, I said, "Why?" And he goes, "I always get tickets here." And then I said, "Well, but I never get tickets. Like, I never get tickets." And he's like, "Oh, you don't?" Like, and so it's just really interesting because I drive by police officers all the time speeding.
Yeah.
And so is that an example?
Absolutely, because in his experience, he is focused on the fact that at one point he got a ticket. He became so focused on the fact that he got a ticket that then he got another one. Well, then he starts replaying that loop, like we talked about in the beginning. He's replaying that loop. Oh gosh, now I've gotten 2 tickets. Well, oh man, I'm so upset that I got these tickets. Well, now you got a 3rd one. Well, now it's become a pattern. Well, now I just accept. Well, now I always get tickets, and now I always get tickets because this has now become my reality and my expectation because I focused so much on that first one. I got so upset about it. I got so, taken in by this fact that I got this ticket that then the universe says, "Oh, tickets. Okay, that's what you want. That's what you're putting your attention on. Okay, well, I'll give you some more."
Yeah.
And it was interesting because after he told me, I was like, "That's interesting." And then my registration was out of date. So then sure enough, like 3 days later, I got a ticket. And I was like, I get tickets too. But, it was just like, it's just, fix it. But it was a fabulous experience. The police officer was really wonderful. And he reminded me that it's really important to say, get your money in check and pay that. Right. So I was like, oh, thanks for the reminder.
Yeah.
So,
but again,
but it was positive. It was like, oh, thank you so much for reminding me and how important this is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And one of the things is a side note to all of this is that no matter what you're experiencing, even if you're experiencing things that feel negative or feel like a contrast or feel like something that you don't want in your experience, it is there to help you discern and decide, well, I don't want that, so what I want is this, and this is where I want to put my attention. And so it's a way to help sift and sort things. It's a way to help you decide, it's like without the sun and the rain, the flowers can't grow, right? If it was always rain or always sun, the flower can't grow.
Right.
So we need a little bit of both in our lives. But then it's up to us how much attention we put to something.
Yeah, you don't want to focus.
You don't want to focus too much on what you don't want, but just enough to say, yeah, I don't want that. So now I'm going to turn over here and I'm going to focus on the things I do want, and I can let that go.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And it's that focus and intention of what you want, staying focused on that to make it happen.
Absolutely. Right.
Okay. I'm getting it.
Yeah. All right. So as you begin to receive people and experiences into your life, which are more and more matched to your desires, you will find that along the way, sometimes matches may be short-term. And that may be something that you desire, or it may be something that's a stepping stone along the way. So it's important to know and understand that the universe will match you in the moment. So even though you got that ticket, as long as you don't keep re-looping back to it, then the universe will continue to match you where you are in any given moment. So right now, we have a really great energy going on here. So the universe is pulling things together and matching us to where we are, having this great discussion. But let's just say you've had like a really shitty day. Everything that could go wrong did. At the end of the day, you're at a social function and you meet someone and you really hit it off. So you've had this really crappy day, but now you're like, okay, I'm going to go to this function. I'm going to try to forget what's going on. But now you meet someone and it's like this really strong connection. So you're thinking, wow, could this really be happening? Could I really have this kind of connection with somebody? So the universe is matching you where you are in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Not what happened earlier in the day necessarily, but where you are in that moment. But did you bring that day with you?
Mm-hmm.
Or did you really let it go?
You'll know about it.
So you'll know by the person you meet, because that person is an energetic match to where you are in that moment. So if you're wallowing in the crap that happened all day long and you're there and you're still feeling that negativity, even though you put the smile on your face, right? And you're being sociable and everything, but if inside you still have all that crap that you experienced that day, then you're going to meet someone who has all that stuff underlying too. So it might seem really great on the surface, but as you start to spend more time with that person, you're going to start, those masks start to come off, and it's like, oh man, you know, they're always complaining. They're always talking about the lack in their life. They're always, you know, there's always some problem they've got, you know, that's going on in their life. Now you got to turn that in. And you got to think, so how did that person come into my life? It's a reflection of you.
Yeah.
But then you want to be in that right space when you're meeting someone, or at least you don't want to take it too seriously if you're not.
If you're not.
If you're not in the right space or frame of mind, then just don't even give it any thought.
And so many times what happens is, and I've seen this with especially with women, is when we are not in a happy, healthy, harmonious relationship, we want to go out and find one. Right? We want to search for one. That was kind of that question at the beginning. How do I find the one? I'm searching. I'm out there because I'm focused on my lack. I'm focused on the lack that I don't have this person in my life right now. So I'm out there searching. I want to find this person. Are you ever going to find that person?
Probably not.
No, not while you're searching.
Not while you're searching, because you're focused on the lack. That this person isn't here. But who are you going to meet?
You're going to meet someone that you'll end up with. No,
you're going to meet somebody that's also searching.
That's also searching because they have lack in their life.
Oh, got it.
So what happens is you get two people that are meeting who believe in lack, right? Who believe in all these.
And so that gives you an instant bond because you're alive in that sense. But that's not helpful because you can't either fulfill each other's.
It's not a healthy place to start from. So even though you get into a relationship and all of a sudden it feels great, oh, I finally met someone and we have all these great connections and, you know, we have all these things in common. Okay, but really what brought you together? Now, even if those things did bring you together, where are you going to go?
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to let go of that lack mentality, that searching mentality in other parts of your life, which are then going to eventually drive you apart? Because I'm growing as an individual, they're growing as an individual, and are we growing together?
Right.
You know, I think there's probably not. Because I didn't know who I was. I didn't intentionally put out my desires. I didn't get, and what I'm getting is a reflection of what I'm putting out. So now I have to be able to stop and step back and reflect on what am I getting. I have to assess who's coming into my life. What does that mean about me? And is this person really someone that has the ability to move forward with me in the way that I really want? Because sometimes we can have like the best day, right? But at the end of the day, one thing happens. Let's say you get a flat tire, and it just like blows your whole day. And then you go to that social function, and you meet someone because now you've got the flat tire, you had to deal with this thing. Now you're in that frame of mind, even though things have gone really well all day long, and you're not quite aware that one thing is driving that connection. So is, you know, and then, you know, things go, because you're normally, like things are really good normally for you, but you had this dip, and now all of a sudden you met someone in that dip, but now you're back up on top, right? So now things are going well, and things seem to be going pretty well with that person, but then, they're kind of slowly going here, but you're up here. So, now all of a sudden you're up here and they're down here. And it's like, well, wait a minute, how did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
And that could be years.
Mm-hmm.
That could be years of that slow pull and decline.
Because you might not recognize it at first.
Yeah.
It may take a while to even
Right.
see that it's happening.
Exactly, because normally you are in this place of good energy, positive energy, things go well in my life, but you hit a dip.
Mm-hmm.
And if you connect with someone during that dip, even though you raise up again, they're not at that level.
That actually happened to me.
And it's interesting because it's happened to me too, but the people that I've met in the dip that are willing to change for the better and listen to what I have to say, they're the people I'll keep around.
Of course.
And I keep testing people out. Like, let me just see it one more time and see where this went. And it was like, I don't know. But then when I'm sure, when I know, I really know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And again, that's this reflection time.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking time, you're being intentional to reflect on where did I meet this person? What frame of mind was I in when I met them? Or as time goes on, you go, this person seems to be different than when I first met them.
Mm-hmm.
And is it really that they are different, or am I different? I'm seeing them through a different lens because of where I was in the moment when we met.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm at a different place in my life, and I'm growing and I'm shifting, but they're not.
Mm-hmm.
So there are times where, yes, you can influence someone to come along your journey with you.
Mm-hmm.
But many times we can't.
That's really manipulation if we try to do that.
It's not manipulation, it's influence. So there's a difference between coercion and trying to force someone to be a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
But we influence people by living the life that we are and who we are.
I guess that's true. They see what we're doing and it has positive or negative.
And then we leave it up to them to make that decision. It's not like we're telling them, I want you to come on this journey with me.
Right.
But
I see that.
what we're saying is, this is the journey that I'm walking. This is the direction I'm going in. And this is the person that I am striving to be.
Mm-hmm.
I would love for you to be on that journey with me. But that's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you continue to live your life. And then it's up to them to decide what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
See, reflect. I got it.
yeah.
You're cheating.
I did. I looked at your notes.
Not
I'm
really.
gonna get in trouble.
You're not cheating.
That's right.
We share, right?
Yeah.
I'm good. That's all I can do.
All right. So as part of our growth and improvement, we want to take time to reflect on people and the experiences and the pathways that you're on to ensure that they're all in harmony and aligned as much as possible. And so it takes intentionality to discuss with a partner or partners what it is that you desire. And even if you don't want to have a life partner or what we call primary partners or kind of a connected partner, I think it's still important to be able to discuss with people that you're connecting with what it is that you want to create with them.
Mm-hmm.
I want to create a friends with benefits relationship with you. I really enjoy you and I want to be able to hang out with you and go to the mall and go to the movies and come back and have sex and this is what I'd like to create with you. And I'm open to see if something more may develop. But for right now, this is what I'm desiring and what I'm wanting. And does that sound like something you would like to create with me?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's
communication. That's
I know, you actually have to have conversations. And like when I first met Mark, literally within 10 days, because we knew we had this incredible spark, we had this incredible connection, within 10 days he asked me to be his wife. Because we both knew. We just knew. But it was that open conversation of, yes, even in 10 days, this is what I desire to have with you. Now, obviously we'll see how things go, but this is my desire. And next week we celebrate 5 years together.
Wow.
So
Congratulations.
Thank you. We're excited.
That's pretty neat.
Next
So-
week?
Next
Wow.
week, I know. Next week, yeah, the famous kiss.
Relationships are so
Famous
complex.
5
you know?
years.
They are.
5 years too is kind of monumental too.
It is,
shows that
yeah.
you've kind of been through some stuff.
Yeah.
You've
Oh,
been through
definitely.
enough stuff by 5 years
Yeah.
to know if this is
Yeah,
someone you
and
want
to
do
get
this with or not.
yeah.
Mhm.
To kind of go back to where I was talking about how if we want someone to come along our journey, we in our relationship we had been going down a particular road, and after a year and a half, I came to the realization that was not the road I wanted to go down.
Mhm.
After a year and a half, so this is a significant amount of time
Right.
to invest in something and then be able to say, this isn't working, this isn't going how I want, this isn't the direction that I desire. It's the direction you desire, but it's not the direction that I desire with this person, this other person that you would like me to go with. So here's what I want. I want that kind of relationship with you, but I don't want that with that other person.
Mhm.
Now, you have a choice because you're an autonomous person. You get to decide what you want to do, but I'm telling you, this is the direction I want to go in now, and I'm willing to see how that plays out
Mhm.
over the next few years. If things are not moving in the direction that I want to go in with you, then we may need to sit down and figure out something else.
Mhm. But even if you make a significant investment in something, it's better to take a loss
Mhm.
than to continue it.
That's right. Absolutely.
Just take the loss and
Yeah.
get it to where you need to be.
Right. And be able to take the lessons, like we said before, take the lessons and the things that you've learned through that experience and use that into your next experience or your next relationship or partnership or whatever you're looking for
Mhm.
to say, I had this experience, this helped me clarify,
Mhm.
refine, and get clear on what it is I really want.
And all these lessons we learn make us stronger.
They do.
As long as we take the lesson and not
Yes.
the trash.
Absolutely.
I
That's right. Yeah.
Drugs.
I mean, no, but you're really you're not just, you're book smart too. I mean,
Yeah.
because of what you do for a living, but you're also very much emotionally intelligent
I guess my parents.
to
Yeah.
beyond the norm of what I see, but
And that's a really great
it could
point.
be where
is-
my energy is.
Yeah. Is that choosing to change or end a relationship can seem like a difficult task.
Yeah.
However, are you willing to sacrifice your own dreams and desires to make someone else comfortable?
No.
And are you willing to change who you are to meet someone else's expectations?
Mm-mm.
What was
Do
the
you-
first question?
Are you willing to sacrifice your dreams and desires to make someone else comfortable?
Ooh, yeah,
But I think
I've done that.
a large portion of the population do these
I
things.
have
We
done
do.
that. I
We
have
do.
done that.
I've
and
done
I still
that.
catch myself doing it when
Yeah.
I don't want to do it and just be like, ugh,
Yeah.
I did that again. Ugh.
Uh-huh. And then the last one is, do you feel obligated to stay stuck where you are because someone else isn't ready to grow?
I mean, I think that's also very common.
They are. And it really is
very
important to
common.
ask yourself these compelling questions and answer them as you would answer for your best friend. If your best friend came to you and said, here's what I'm struggling with, I'm in this relationship and I'm really feeling stuck, should I stay because I feel obligated? I've put 10 years into this marriage or this relationship and we have a kid and we have this. Would you tell that person to stay?
I think no.
No.
No, you would never
You,
tell them. You
so
would be
why
like,
do
"Get
you
out."
tell yourself that?
That's what even my sister told me. She was like, if that's how you really feel, you really feel like if you stay, you're gonna die, get out.
Yeah.
Of course, get out.
Right. But we don't tell ourselves that.
No.
Sometimes I think we find ourselves in a situation, but we're afraid of the unknown.
We
if
are.
If I
Yes.
move out of this circle, even though I don't like it here, at least I know it.
Yes.
And if I move over there, it's an unknown.
It's
and I don't know
unknown.
what's going to happen.
That's right.
And it
It
might be
is.
worse.
Right. The fear of the unknown
Mhm.
keeps you stuck in despair.
Yeah.
It keeps you stuck in places that are uncomfortable, that are painful,
Mm-hmm.
because you already know the pain.
Mm-hmm.
but that fear of the unknown is actually greater than the known pain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wait, say that again.
The fear of the unknown is greater than the pain that you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that happens, is that because we allow fear to drive us so deeply that we'd rather stay in pain because we're familiar with it than to step out of that and experience something new. So fear is a huge factor, and it's something that we're taught.
Mm-hmm.
We're taught that you're supposed to stay safe, right? And staying safe means you're in a comfort zone.
And don't rock the boat.
You don't rock the boat. You stay even though it's painful and it doesn't fit you, because stepping out is unknown and it's uncomfortable and it puts you in a place where you don't know what's going to happen. You know, you don't know how it's going to affect you financially or relationally or emotionally or whatever. We're so afraid that we stay stuck in this little place that hurts.
Well, it's interesting too, because like my therapist and so many people said, if you leave, you'll be poor. If you leave your husband, you will be poor because you're going to have to survive yourself and your son on one income, and you're going to have half,
or less.
right?
Yeah.
So you're going to, and so that
So
took with
it's
me.
already driven into you the fear of losing income. It's driven into you, even though they're telling you, yes, emotionally it's better for you to leave, but here are all the bad things that are going to happen to you if you do that.
That's because nobody wants to tell you what to do, and people want to protect themselves. They're kind of yeah, I get this, but then look at this, and then you decide, instead of just saying, you figure out what's right for you.
Right.
They have to give you the pros and cons and talk too much.
Yeah.
Because I talk too much like that, but I have the times.
Right. So through this process, if we become attached to a person, a belief, a feeling, or even a desire, then I am limited, restricted, and obligated to keep those things going, even if they no longer feel right for me. And it's in living a life where you can allow people to come and go in and out of your life, that you will be liberated and free in a way you might not even be able to imagine. And so whether you're looking for friends with benefits or friend partner type things, whether you're looking for a community, whether you're looking for a one partner, is to be able to allow that person to be who they are, authentically who they are, and to understand that at any point in time they could walk out the door and that would be okay. Because as long as they're making that choice for themselves to be the best person that they can be, if that's not being with me, I don't want to hold someone back to be with me because they feel obligated because they've been in a relationship with me. And I don't want to feel obligated to stay with someone just because I've created a relationship with them if that no longer serves me and that no longer fits or feels good for me. So I want to be able to walk out the door and say, this has been wonderful, I've learned a lot, I've loved you, and now it's time for me to go. And when we can reach that place, it truly liberates you and it liberates the other person. So key number 3 is to reflect on where you are, where you want to go, and do the people and experiences you're receiving match you both in the moment and along your journey. So be willing to let go or change a relationship that no longer matches where you are or where you want to go, if that person is not willing to take the journey of growth and development with you. So those are my 3 keys to creating happy, healthy, harmonious relationships without effort, stress, or frustration, because honestly, it all starts here. And we create the relationship that we want. So if we don't want to create the effort, you need to start here, because the relationship will come. right?
Yeah,
The
first you have
beautiful,
to build a relationship with yourself.
you do.
A positive relationship
right.
with yourself.
So when
and
you
then
have
you
that-
can be brought, ready for others.
That's right. And that's what we've
Okay.
been doing this whole 10 months is creating that relationship with ourselves.
Mhm.
And now we take that relationship we have with ourselves and we can open that up to share with someone else. The biggest thing that I created when I moved into my relationship with Mark was I wanted a partner who complemented my life,
Mhm.
not completed my life, but who complemented the person that I already am. And I wanted that person to complement me, or people. It doesn't have to be one person,
Right.
because that's what works for me. But I wanted relationships that complemented me intellectually, emotionally, physically, romantically, sexually, and energetically. So out of those 6 areas, it could be a multiple people that feed all those different pieces of me.
It doesn't have to be
It
one
doesn't
person
have to
make-
be one person,
Mhm. But you need all of those things.
but I
said.
need all of those things complemented for me,
Mhm.
because that's what's going to enrich my life, enrich my experience of who I am,
Mhm.
and will help me continue to grow as a
Mhm.
person. So if I have people in my life, and whether they're friends or they're lovers or they're partners, at whatever level they are, those are the people that I want close to me to complement me in those 6 areas. So I got really clear that that's what I want in my life. And that is what I continue to attract.
Mhm.
I continue to attract people who complement me in all those different areas. And it's really beautiful to see the relationships that I create at all different levels. And truly it enriches my life beyond anything I could have ever imagined when I got divorced and I stepped out into the world and had no idea where I was going.
But you did take that step.
But I did take that step because I had gotten to a place where the pain became unbearable. And there's a quote, and I don't know the exact quote, but it basically says, when you reach a point where your pain is unbearable, that's the point when you release your fear and you step out to make your change.
Mhm.
But that's what people call hitting rock bottom.
Mhm.
You know, that when I've hit rock bottom, when I have hurt so much, when I have hit the lowest of the lowest of the low, that's when I'm willing to make my change.
Mhm.
But I invite you to make your change before you hit that. You know, and some of us have already hit that, you know. But if you're out there, then, you know, if you haven't hit that low, you don't need to. You can make that shift now and start to turn things around just by being aware, being intentional, really looking at the people that are in your life. Are they really serving you? Are they really complimenting you? Are they adding to your life, or are they taking away from it?
Mhm.
And if they're taking away from it, then it's time to ask yourself some of those questions of, why am I continuing?
So many people are like energy vampires. They
Yes.
suck it all out of you and
Yeah.
leave you. But you have to
Drained.
be careful because you don't recognize them because they act friendly, but
They
they're
do.
not.
Right.
They're very friendly.
Yeah.
But
And
they're
pretty
so
soon,
draining.
you go from being a nice full balloon to being all shriveled up, and you don't even realize the air has slowly been leaking out of you.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden you find yourself all withered up on the floor going, what the hell happened? Yeah,
It's taken me a while to recognize that
Yeah.
and see when that's happening.
yeah.
But I can see it now.
And it's not just in romantic relationships.
Oh,
it could
no,
be
it
in a
can be
business setting. It could be in friends. It
Yeah.
could be family members.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Sometimes they're our biggest energy suck,
Yeah.
right? They're our biggest
Yeah.
energy vampire. Excellent. Well,
Energy vampire.
I like that. That's cute. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up here. So thank you so much for joining us. And next month, We will be meeting on the second Sunday, February 10th at 9:30. And our topic is going to be how to have the sex life of your dreams without shame, guilt, or judgment. So if you're interested in how to live a life without attachments, which was one of the last things that we talked about, please email me at kat@bardsociety.com to purchase my book study on the 5 levels of attachment. And I appreciate any feedback that you have on our video. And I also invite you to join our email list, our free email list at www.bardsociety.com. And you can find how to subscribe right there on the homepage. And if you're in the Ventura County area, you can join our meetup group after you join our email list, and search for Badass Red Dress Society under meetup.com in Ventura County. And you can join our in-person tribe for some real-life connections with other women in a fun, supportive, and educational environment to keep you growing and moving along your authentic journey, increasing your abundance, liberation, and freedom. So thank you again for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you next month. This is Badass Kat with Badass Red Dress Society signing off. Cheers.